Fox21 here, back with another Splinterlands video. So I don't know how else to describe what's going on right now, other than it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. There's a lot happening in Splinterlands right now, both insanely positive, which we will cover, and then there's one sort of gray cloud that's hanging over the community and ecosystem right now, which is what this post and vote and ultimately video is going to be about. Before we get into it, I'm going to sort of touch on some high level things before we get into the nitty gritty. First, while this gray cloud has sort of engulfed the conversation around the game, you can currently see in the Discord some of the conversations have devolved into, I would say, very useless dialogues. One side calling someone, one side calling the other side sort of like incapable of following directions or, knowing what to do, and then the other side calling some people selfish, and it's useless, non-valuable conversation. So that's the first thing. Second, the crazy amount of success that Splinterlands has seen in the past week or two, and then, what's to come in short order, is incredible. We'll touch on some of the specifics here, but it's absolutely incredible. All of this, like the ability to launch these items, launch these things, launch these products, launch these platforms, raise money in the middle of a raging bear market is nothing short of remarkable. Companies right now in the crypto space are shutting down, firing people. Meanwhile, Splinterlands is selling millions of dollars worth of packs. That could not have me more excited about this game in the future. Eventually when the market turns, it could be years, right? But I have the utmost faith and confidence that Splinterlands will be in a solid position to catch the tailwinds that would come with a positive macro crypto environment that will, inevitably be here at some point in the future. And to be honest, I almost hope that it's a little delayed, right? Like, I know there's probably some concerns if prices keep going down, but if we sit in a sideways market and Splinterlands sort of gets to build under the radar, all of the people that are here now are just stand to benefit more once the tailwinds eventually come. So, if this market wants to move sideways for 2 years while Splinterlands keeps doing their thing, I would welcome that. So it's just truly incredible, and I don't want that to get lost in any of these conversations. I think it's important to zoom out and see the whole picture and see the trajectory this game is on, despite a macro environment that's working completely in the opposite direction. It's providing huge headwinds to the team, and they're still able to iterate and create these things. Second, you also have to acknowledge that there is going to be growing pains. Doing stuff like this for the first time isn't easy. That's why, in one of my newsletter things, I wrote about, the risk of a second mover coming in that's watched what Splinterlands has done and is able to move quicker and iterate because they don't have such of a legacy system built. So it's not easy to, as a ship gets bigger, it becomes more difficult to steer, right? So there's going to be headaches, right? If you're dealing with something like we're about to talk about, that sells out in under 2 minutes, there's going to be problems. There's going to be people upset. When you're doing things for the first time, I don't care how much you test something, Not everything is going to be perfect. There are going to be headaches, there are going to be problems. So balancing out sort of the responsibility and / risk, I think, is split between both the team and the players. Meaning that the team they need to balance sort of making sure those that feel disadvantaged in whatever way, or were disadvantaged, make sure they feel comfortable with how the situation went down, right? Not everything is going to work perfectly. Sometimes you need to say, hey, this could have been better, right? But on the flip side, the players also need to recognize what they're getting into, right? Like, this is uncharted territory. You need to know there's going to be mistakes. And someone is always going to feel like they got the short end of the straw or stick. I actually don't even know what that phrase is. But, if you sell 100 of something, there's always going to be that 101st person that doesn't get it, who is then upset by it and can, and I would be upset too, obviously. It's mostly just bad luck, but I would still be upset about it. So yeah, it's how do you balance making sure the community is taken care of with also recognizing that a little bit this is how it's going to be. As we are testing things out and doing things for the first time, there are going to be mistakes. There are going to be bumps in the road, and some people are going to miss out on limited releases. That's just how it works. It's how it works across the ecosystem, and how it works outside of the ecosystem in real life, right? There's limited amounts of things. And, not everything always works as planned. Okay, so finally, I guess making these types of videos makes me a little uneasy for a couple of reasons. First, I recognize that the people who listen to my videos and the people who enjoy my content are often going to have different opinions on any of these proposals or these topic areas. So I'm not trying to alienate someone when I make these videos, right? I am mostly just trying to get the information out there for maybe those who don't follow the Discord, aren't on PD, but watch my videos. So, or maybe even just follow me on Twitter or whatever it is. So I think it's important that the information gets out there. Second, I want to provide sort of a line of thinking on the matter. Doesn't mean I'm right. That doesn't mean your line of thinking shouldn't be different than mine. It's just that, if people are confused, I can present my side and how I feel about it. And that will provide a little bit of a framework for those to be like, okay, wait, I agree with what he's saying. Perfect. Or for people to be like, I don't agree with what he's saying. I want to vote in the opposite way. Perfect. If you take this video, if you listen to my points and you think the exact opposite of me, then this video was valuable for you, right? You heard a dissenting opinion to yours. You took that in, you thought about it, and you came out and said, nope, I still feel the other way. Perfect. You should feel more confident about your opinion if that's the case. And the other thing, I guess, in general is I'm not trying to influence people with videos like this. I personally, I've built a platform, obviously, and with that comes sort of some responsibility. And I think, this is a conversation for a different day, and it's a much larger topic. I think a lot of issues that have come, I think there's too much weight in society placed on someone's money and influence. So, having built a little bit of this influence, and I recognize that me putting a video out like this is something that not everyone can do, but the goal and purposes of this is not to influence you to vote the way I think people should vote, or vote the way I'm going to vote. And so as a part of that, whenever I do make videos on these government proposals, one of the things I'm going to do is try to walk through how I could be biased to start. So this is the second one. The first one was for the voting, not the voting, was for the reward structure, right? When it split out the rewards by league, so each league had its own pool. In that video, I think I mentioned, obviously I'm going to be biased because I play in Champion, right? And people in Champion stand to benefit. But I then go on to sort of describe why I think is good for the entire game, right? So I'm not just doing it because I'm in Champion, but I'm admitting that my mind is probably skewed, and it's probably a little naive of me to think that the fact that I stand to benefit from them making separate pools for each league isn't influencing my decision making, right? I think it's important to acknowledge and talk about that, specifically when I'm in this position making videos that a bunch of people are going to see when not everyone has the ability to do that. Okay, so onto this topic. What are my biases? Well, it's a very easy one. I successfully purchased over 8,000, or over, I think it was 6,600 packs. I successfully used all of the vouchers I was planning on using and ended up with, I think, like 8,040 something packs. I posted the screenshot on Twitter. I'm not sure exactly the number, but I got over 8,000 packs. Well, I didn't. I ran a group buy, and I was the one in charge of actually making that purchase, so I was able to make the purchase for everyone else successfully in time and correctly used the vouchers. So some of the headaches that we're about to outline, I was able to get through, right? It didn't really end up affecting me in any way. So that's where I'm at. Like, obviously, my group and myself are gonna get the promo cards that we were expecting to get. We got all the packs we were expecting to get. The process worked smoothly for me. So that is the perspective I'm coming from. I'm going to talk about this, hopefully in a sense that is zoomed out from that, but it's impossible for me to say that that being my reality isn't going to be influencing my opinion. All right, with that out of the way, let's talk about it. And I guess last thing is, I want to hear the dissenting opinions that are thoughtfully put together, right? Or I want to hear opinions that agree with me that are thoughtfully put together. I don't want like name calling or, the amount of times someone has called someone like selfish or anything. It just removes all of the nuance from the conversation and what the ultimate goals are. So if you don't agree with me, perfect, great. Tell me why. Like, I want to know. That doesn't mean I'm some sort of type of person or you're some sort of type of person. We just disagree on this. And we're both going to have reasons that we feel are valid. I want to know your valid reasons. Maybe you could change my mind. The Discord has become, that specifically about this proposal, has become a useless place, in my opinion. Nothing of value is happening there. So if I can create a little community of value here in the YouTube comments where people are able to talk about this freely and respect one another and share ideas, then I'm all for it. Okay, without further ado, this is probably the longest intro I will ever do. Let's get into it. So again, this is what the positives I talked about. Let's quickly touch on these. $25 million $25 million SPS off the market, along with a 500,000 vouchers. 500k packs vanished in a heartbeat. Very true. It was 1 minute and 39 seconds. That's insane. And the DAO, so the community itself, got $2.5 million richer. That's incredible. But that's not the only thing that happened, right? On the same day, nodes started flying off the shelves. Another 25 million were taken out of circulation, and we sold through the first tranche of nodes. On top of that, 30k Chaos Legion packs were also purchased that day, which has us inching closer and closer to Yasek. And we're getting close to 66% of the Chaos Legion being done. So that's incredible. That's insane. All of that happening in the span of, I think, 24 hours is nuts. Specifically in the macro environment we're seeing right now. And that should not be lost. That should be the basis of what we're talking about the last few the upcoming stuff with, is that regardless of how this goes, it has been an insanely positive week for Splinterlands. And that's not something I'm willing to argue about. That was incredible what's happened. And I missed out on some of this too. I think that's another important piece, is I wanted a node, I wanted that. I didn't get it. I tried. I was trying to raise some money to get it done, and I just ran out of time. Couldn't get it. So now I either have to go in a tranche 2 or buy one off the secondary market, but I couldn't get the tranche 1 pricing, and I tried. Okay, so now, not everything went perfectly, as they said. The first problem was a UX mistake on the part of Splinterlands. So what happened was, if you typed in the amount of Splinterlands packs you wanted, so I guess first of all, right, when you pull up this screen, they've fixed it since. But basically, you hit buy now, it brought you down here. You could have just scrolled. If you hit 500, an even number, the vouchers would automatically populate, right? This screen didn't pop up like this originally. You needed to click out. But if you typed it in, it would have automatically worked, right? So if you hit 2000, it automatically fills it in. But I didn't actually do this because I didn't have an even number. I had like 6600, so I had to type in 6600. So now this automatically popped up, right? Where you see it was automatically filled in. Originally that didn't happen. So you had people who were typing in their number and immediately hitting buy. I can't hit buy because I don't have enough SPS to do this, but it would immediately hit buy and the vouchers weren't populated. So a bunch of people bought packs that weren't able to put the vouchers in. Second problem was that the website went immediately into the general sale following the pre-sell out. So the issue there is, if something's going to sell out in under 2 minutes, there should have been some warning or some message that, hey, the pre-sale is over, or it should have just stopped, right? Hits 500K, pre-sale stops, packs do not go on sale until the launch date, which is in 10 days, I believe. Yeah, 10 days from here, the 27th. Instead, what happened was players were frantically trying to purchase packs, not knowing that the pre-sale had already ended and it went into the regular sale. So it went beyond the 500K, and people who were expecting to be able to get the promo card or have a chance to get the promo card ended up getting regular sale packs, which were not eligible for the promo card, and they had no idea. And they didn't find out until, you checked your block number to see at what time your purchase had gone through. And the third problem is that the mad rush of the sale excluded some of our community members. Those that aren't able-bodied couldn't all participate even if they were on time and made a good, honest effort. Some internet speeds vary, and those with poor internet connection can be completely excluded. So this was to be honest, it was kind of a weird way to say. They word it better down here, where they're like, of what they want to do. Because there were a lot of able-bodied people as well that were just late, right? So this is not fully just a situation of people who are not able-bodied or who have bad internet. There were people who were able-bodied and had good internet that just couldn't make the cut. So I think that was kind of a weird way to word it, but nevertheless. So here's the request. Hold on, I'm gonna reread this, see if it's what I should point out. I want to just read through this whole thing. You should come read it though. Okay, so they're basically saying, because this money went to the DAO, right? The Splinterlands, the company, doesn't make any money off of these pack sales for the mini sets. They make their money off of the main sets, so they make money off of Untamed, and they make money off of Chaos, and then the next major set is Rebellion, so they make money off that. They don't make money off these mini sets, so they don't make money off Dice, they didn't make money off Riftwatchers, and they won't make money off the next mini set. That goes to the SPS DAO. So what they're basically saying here is that because this money goes to the SPS DAO, it makes it a little more complicated than the team being like, okay, we're going to give money back, because it's not really their money to give back. It's the DAO's money. Which is why this is going to a vote, right? So they put this out for public comment, and then just because there's other sales, right? There's a tower defense sale, there's going to be a whitelist sale. They got to figure this out quickly. And there's going to be a shortened SPS stakeholder vote. So here's what they're proposing. So again, they sort of walk through the situation. So to help with number one, which was the voucher confusion, anyone that purchased packs during the presale but used less than the full amount of vouchers be allowed to purchase the full amount of presale packs eligible by submitting the missing vouchers. This will increase the total number of presale packs eligible for rewards by what we estimate to be in the 2 to 3% range. Anyone requesting refunds will be refunded by the exact amount they purchased. This is for number two, for right here. People who thought they were getting the presale but got their general sale. Anyone requesting refunds will be given the refunds in both SPS and vouchers by the Splinterlands company as opposed to the DAO. So they're sort of taking responsibility for this and saying, yeah, this was bad. This wasn't a UI problem. This was a full setup problem. We shouldn't have done it this way. So they're taking responsibility here. Anyone can get refunds if they didn't hit the presale. We would like to increase the number of packs eligible for presale rewards to allow anyone that purchased packs within the first 3 minutes. This would be a 10% increase to the total pre-pack sales and resolve 60% of the transactions and 81% of the financial considerations of the presale refund requests. Okay, and then it goes over what they plan to gain, or like not what they plan to gain, what the outcomes of this would be, right? So the pack purchasing community would experience a 10% increase to the print rate of the presale promotional assets. People would receive packs they intended to purchase with the voucher, and no money would come out of the DAO. The people on the cusp would get a better user experience and be more likely to participate in further sales. They were able to purchase the number of packs they intended. By allowing these changes, the development and support team will build a positive experience with frustrated players. So this one I don't really buy. Regardless of what they end up doing, one group is going to end up frustrated. So right now there's one frustrated group. If they help that frustrated group, there's just going to be this whole other group that becomes frustrated. So that's going to create a cycle where someone's always going to be frustrated. So not really buying that part. Minimum amount of work is good. Yeah, a retrospective and adjustments to improve the player experience in future pre-sales. Again, this is awesome, 100%. Okay, so where do I lie on this? Let's go back. Let's take it step by step. This is sort of the summary screen right here, you can see. So with the UX confused some players, so they missed the opportunity to spend vouchers to purchase bonus packs. My level of sympathy is pretty low for this. And I don't want to get into that same conversation where it's like, I figured it out, you should figure it out. Blah, blah, blah. Like that's not what I actually think. I think that it required a level of attention to detail that some people rushed through. And some people, I guess, weren't prepared, right? Again, I was responsible for a massive bulk buy, and I sat there and I knew if I didn't input the amount of vouchers, that didn't look right to me, I needed to make sure that it did, right? So I got it all, and I wasn't one of the people, again, that could hit the big flashy 2000 pack number or whatever it is, and it auto-populated for me. I bought like 6,800 something packs. I had to type in every single number. And to me, this is just something where a lot of people were playing under these circumstances, and some people figured it out and some people didn't. And to be honest, in a vacuum, this to me is fine. I don't feel strongly that about number one. Honestly, how I would handle it would be anyone that purchased packs during the pre-sale but didn't use the vouchers should be able to purchase the full amount of packs in general, but I don't think they should count for the pre-sale. I think they should be able to submit vouchers to get the Riftwatchers packs, but I don't think they should have the pre-sale benefits. That's just my personal opinion. Again, I feel less strongly about this one. We're gonna skip to number 3, and we're gonna tie it back into 1, which is where sort of the whole crux of my issue with this lies. So we would like to increase the number of packs eligible for pre-sale rewards to allow anyone that purchased packs within the first 3 minutes would be a 10% increase to the total pre-sale packs and resolve X%, blah, blah, blah. So here's my problem. There's 2 sets of people here that got disadvantaged, right? Up in number 1, you have the people who rushed through the process, didn't put in their vouchers, and got pre-sale packs purchased, but not the exact number that they wanted or were entitled to or had the vouchers to purchase. But on the flip side, you're gonna have this whole group of people down here who were maybe extra careful, right? Who were sitting there and saw that they needed to input vouchers and went back and made adjustments, and it took them more time, and because of that, they missed the pre-sale. So you have 2 people on the opposite spectrum. You can't reward the people who rushed, but then also not reward the people who took their time and made sure they got it right and therefore missed out. So to me, this is the problem with it being an easy solution. There's people on 2 sides of the spectrum that missed out, that it's going to be very difficult to make it fair to both of them. And this number 3 is where a lot of my problem comes in with this proposal. Mainly because the game, the whole point of the ecosystem and why the economy works so well to me is because there's always a set number of things. You always know the amount of things that exist, and that number is going to go down over time. And this is kind of the opposite of that, right? People went in under the presumption that there would be 500K packs purchased, and that would mean a certain range of the promo card would be bought or would be printed and in circulation. This sort of flips that on its head. And to me, it sets a bad precedent moving forward, where that now, when there's other problems that are inevitably going to arise in the future, we have set a precedent where before we've increased the print rate of a card to make people happy. And to me, that's just dangerous, right? It's created a history where we've gone against what was initially intended and printed more of something, which is the exact opposite of what this game intends to do. And I recognize that, some people missed out, but that's kind of how it works. When you're doing a limited edition special type of situation, not everyone can get all that they want. It's why we talk about push and shove, right? It's the whole nomenclature of push and shove. Sometimes when you're pushing and shoving, you get pushed down, right? Like, you're not always going to be the one who's manhandling everyone, pushing and shoving. Sometimes you get, put on your butt. And you got to get back up and move on to the next thing. So what makes me upset is not upset. Upset is very wrong. It's not what I wanted to say. What makes me cautious and against this proposal is it's not this in a vacuum, right? It's not this situation in a vacuum. It's what this means for the next one and the next one and the next one. It's, the next time there's a problem, well, last time we increased the print rate so more people could get one. I think that's bad, and I think that's against what this game has historically stood for and represented. And feeling so strongly about this part also makes me think it's not fair to let this part go. Because as I talked about, these people rushed, these people were more careful, but because that, were slow and missed out on the presale. You can't help one without the other. And I think this right here is a non-starter to me. And again, admitting my bias, the 10% increase of the promo card hurts me financially. And it's probably hard for me to think about that or think about this proposal without that being in my brain and my thought process. I fully recognize that. But where my hesitance lies for this is the precedent it creates, right? I like burning things. I don't like creating more unexpected of things. So the one we haven't touched on here is number 2. And this is one, if this was a separate thing that's pulled out from these other 3, which I hope that they pull these out, I would 100% vote for. I think this is a no-brainer. I think 1 and 3 were circumstances of, the growing pains that comes with the company. I don't think Splinterlands did anything inherently wrong. I don't think there was anything malicious. I just think when you create something that has a set number and a lot of people want it, there are going to be problems and some people are going to miss out. Like, these people, you missed out on some of what you wanted, right? You got some of it. These people just didn't work out for you. But, be ready for the next one. Here, though, I think Splinterlands, the company, bears some of the responsibility. And this is not an accusation, they have said this themselves, right? By them saying that they're going to refund from the company, this is them being like, yeah, this one's on us, which I love. I love this. Number 2 is amazing, right? It shouldn't have worked that way. It was Splinterland's fault. Splinter is saying it shouldn't have worked that way. It's our fault. You guys can have a refund. This one I 100%, I have nothing else to add besides 100% am behind. There are no qualms with this. I think this should go through with flying colors. But if it's all typed in together, I am going to vote no on this, mainly because of this one. I think there could be other instances or other ways to make whole the people that feel disadvantaged or that it went too fast or, whatever else it is, whether that be like, Splinterlands holds a ton of packs. They hold Riftwatchers packs. They hold Chaos Legion packs. They have the ability to buy them as well. Tap into those to compensate the people that you feel were disadvantaged. And then part of the last thing where, people in different areas of the world, people with different income levels are going to have different access to internet, viable internet. People also have different physical capabilities across a whole range of spectrums, right? Some people are physically unable to, submit something like that within a minute 30 something seconds. Those people should 100% be considered and taken care of. If you're going to do these launches that sell in a minute and a half, and someone in an area of the world doesn't have access to internet that will allow them to do it that quickly, that's not fair, and that should be a consideration. But I think that should be a consideration of the team, to put guardrails in place to make it more fair for those individuals. I don't know what those guardrails are, and I would fully support those guardrails being in place. But I think retroactively providing, because something was more successful than maybe the team could have even wildly imagined, to then go back afterwards and be like, hey, there were some people who were unable to participate. Let's increase the print rate to take care of those people. That's not something that I think is appropriate. I think moving forward, the team should come up with a system that is more inclusive of everyone, but I don't think moving backwards in handling that is appropriate. I guess I'm going to leave it there. So again, I gave my opinion. I think it's important to recognize that, one, it's just my opinion, and you should form your own. Use this information. You might agree with me, you might disagree with me. Like, the point of this video is to inform and either inspire people to take up because they also believe what I'm saying, or to inspire the dissenters, right? They heard what at least I would consider to be a well thought out refute and one well thought out reasoning why I'm going to vote no. And if you still feel strongly the other direction, then perfect. You should feel more confident in that vote, and you should vote that yes, right? That's the point of this video. And second, I obviously said some things here that could be perceived as critical of the Splinterlands team. I don't do that very often because I'm always singing their praises, because for the most part, I think the decisions they've made have been mostly flawless to this point. And what makes me upset sort of having to talk about this is that we're talking about something here that isn't going to be relevant in a couple months, and it's completely overshadowing all of these successes, right? The team has been on fire. It's been amazing what they've been accomplishing. And I don't want that to be overlooked based on this conversation that sort of engulfed the community. It has been an incredible last couple weeks, and I think, October, there's so much stuff being launched between Splinterfest and, Genesis League sports and soccer. We have the first NFT project coming out. The team has done an amazing job. They're going to make mistakes, and I think it's important not to amplify those mistakes out of context into, to overshadow the incredible successes that have occurred. So yeah, I think the team's doing an amazing job. And again, the ability for them to put something out like this and to admit when they failed to meet the bar in some certain areas, I think is amazing. A lot of companies and a lot of people don't do this. It gave me, again, I want this vote to go the way I want it to go for a variety of reasons, but just this happening in general gives me confidence moving forward, that when stuff goes wrong, that is Splinterland's responsibility, that they mess up. They're going to be the first people to be like, hey, we messed this up. And I absolutely love that. So I'm going to end it on that positive note. Again, try to keep this comment section informational. That's the whole purpose of this. If you want to go yell at people and call them stupid or whatever, go to the Discord, because I want this to be an informational area only. All right, I'm going to stop it there. Obviously a really long video, and I apologize for that. I also hopefully fixed my mic volume issue. I had been hearing that it had been too soft. I just got a new mic, so I was playing around with the volume. Hopefully it's in a good spot. Let me know about that as well, because I can tune it and stuff. But I'm going to stop it there. If you enjoy Splinterlands content and you're new to the community, it would be awesome if you could like and subscribe. I will talk to you guys soon and see you around the game.